Season 4 Reloaded is here along with update 1.23. We're going to be going over all the important patch notes. There's tons of exciting new content and multiplayer in Warzone, as well as major weapon tuning, including a Grau and MP5 nerf and nearly a dozen buffs, and so much more to go over. So let's dive into it. What's going on, guys? My name is Skater. Welcome to the channel. So this is how it's going to go down. I'm going to start with the new content across the board. That's the new stuff in multiplayer in Warzone. That will be the first half, probably more like first third of this video, and then the remainder will be patch notes, the updates and changes that were made to the game and the meta. Some good news is I have pre and post patch footage of most of the weapon tuning that I went out of my way to record for y'all, so you better watch the entire video. But I'm no fool, I know people won't watch in full, so I have sections chaptered out in the description so you can jump to whatever you want to here if need be. All I ask is that if you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and consider subscribing if you like Call of Duty. So first things first, update size is 22 to 36 gigabytes on all platforms. Post update, the total size of the game shouldn't be too much bigger than it was before because they're trying to condense files, which you saw in the last update. If you are on consoles, there also is an additional 3.5 gigabyte update for multiplayer once you download the larger update. As for new content, we have a new weapon called the Rytec AMR Sniper, which is essentially the Barrett 50 cal. And man, I am excited to level this thing up. I jumped into a private match and shot a couple bots, and it's one shot semi-auto sniper like the 50 cal in previous games, which is powerful. But there's also thermite in grenade rounds, which explode people and burn people still in one shot. It's absolutely insane, and I can't wait to level it up and share more about it with you guys later this week. The new multiplayer map we have is Cheshire Park, which is a standard multiplayer map in London. I have some gameplay of it that you'll be seeing in this video. First impressions is it seems like a old style Call of Duty map. Seems like something straight out of Modern Warfare 3, and I'm very fond of it. It played pretty well in my first couple of games. It's a smaller 3-lane map, and let me know what you guys think about it. Again, I thoroughly enjoyed it in my first couple playthroughs. We have a new operator called Rose who will be available in the shop on the daily reset time. There is a new game mode called Team Defender, which I have to dub Protect the President is the gameplay you'll be seeing in this video. And Team Defender for the remainder of this week is joined by Cheshire Park 24/7, Shoot the Ship 24/7, Ground War, Blueprint Gunfight, and Gunfight Tournament, which returns with a valuable Blueprint reward that I hope to get my hands on. As for Warzone, we have brand new Gulag weapons for the remainder of the season. Those weapons are semi-auto rifles and sniper and marksman rifles. There also is a fists only and throwing knife loadout that I had in my first Gulag entry, which was pretty interesting to use. There also is a new contract called Supply Run. This will direct you and your squad to a buy station that you have to reach within a time limit. I believe the time limit is 2 minutes. And when you reach this buy station, you get rewarded with discounted purchases. Lastly, there is new Warzone gear called the Spotter Scope, which is actually really interesting. This is a reusable scope, kind of like how you call in the Precision Airstrike, but it doesn't give any glint off and give away your position. You can use this to scan the environment and mark enemies. There's 2 zooms to it, and there's also a thermal toggle so you can see people across the map very easily. If an enemy is in range to mark, it'll take about a second. They have to stay on them to mark them, or you could just simply ping them. It seems super powerful and is a standard tactical gear pickup on the ground. Juggernaut Royale is a new limited time mode that's supposed to be in the game, but it is not as of this morning. It might be coming in the daily reset or later on this week. I'm excited to try that out. And the player count for quads has been upped to 200 players. You'll also notice when you boot up Warzone, there is now a Battle Royale tab, which when you click on it will bring you to this week's playlist, which is Quads 200, Trios, Duos, Solos, and there's a separate tab for Plunder Blood Money. So that's all of the new content with Season 4 Reloaded as of launch. Let's get into the weapon tuning. Now, I interpreted these patch notes as for multiplayer, but I assume a majority of these changes will carry over into Warzone, especially like the recoil changes. There's a few sniper changes I see as multiplayer only. That's why I wanted to mention that and just make that clear. So first things first, stopping power now applies to headshots. So this means some weapons can now one-shot headshot, or they gave the examples of the FAL and the Odin, which is pretty insane that the Odin can one-shot headshot now. They made several adjustments to ammo in this game. I'm just going to throw those all on the screen right now for you to look over. For time's sakes, I don't want to be reading this off for the next 2 minutes. Don't want to waste your time, so there's your new ammo adjustments. The SKS 10 round, I just want to note, had a pretty big freaking max reserve round increase. It's a pretty big buff. And speaking of buff, let's go over the weapon buffs we had today. The AX50 had its damage range increased. The HDR now has a guaranteed one-shot kill to the lower torso and up at any range. Before, it'd take 2 shots at range when you were hitting the stomach. The Kar 98K had its damage range increase. It also has a faster aim down sight speed. Pre-patch, it took 19 frames to aim down sights, and now it takes 16 frames, which shaves off about half a second of aim down sight. They also reduced the hip fire spread. The Mark II carbine had its damage range increase. It also has a faster movement speed now, but it's just ever so slightly. I'm not even going to show the side-by-side comparison I recorded. It's like 0.5% to a 1% faster movement speed. The Dragunov now has a 2-hit kill minimum, although I thought it already had a 2-hit kill minimum, so I'm not sure what's up with those patch notes. But it also received a faster aim down sight speed. Pre-patch, I recorded 32 frames to aim down sight. Post-patch, it is 28 frames to aim down sight. The Dragunov also has a faster fire rate. I don't know how to calculate fire rate, so I'll just give you a side-by-side. This is pre-patch. And this is post-patch. Obviously, this thing shoots much faster, but as you saw, with that comes much more recoil to the Dragunov, so you'll still want to pace out your shots. The AK-47 received faster aim down sight speed. Pre-patch, it was 16 frames, now it is 14 frames. And that brings us to the weapon nerfs. We have 3 weapon nerfs for 3 very popular weapons. The Sierra 56 AMAX received a decreased damage range, and that's it. The MP5 also received a decreased damage range across the board, and then they made a few changes to the 10mm rounds. They decreased the damage range, they reduced damage at long range, so it'll take more shots to kill at long range, and they increase the recoil. And as you can see by this recoil plot, the recoil is now all over the place. It's way more spread out and climbs much higher, and will make the weapon much more challenging to use. And this brings us to the Holy Grau nerf. This thing received a couple changes. Overall, they decreased the damage range and increased its recoil, although the normal Grau, there's not much change to the recoil that I saw. But for the Archangel and Nexus barrel, they decreased the overall range benefits for those and reduced the recoil compensation, so you'll be noticing more recoil when using these barrels. The Archangel vertical recoil, there wasn't much change, but the side-to-side spread is much more intense, and this means at long ranges, the recoil is going to be amplified and you're going to be missing more shots when using this in Warzone. This is even more apparent with the Nexus barrel. The side-to-side spread is way more intense. So all of this means the Grau doesn't change too much in close to medium range, but at long range it's going to be much more harder to use. The No Stock attachment also saw a nerf across the board. They upped the recoil with the attachment and decreased the aim down sight aiming steadiness, which means you're going to have more sight sway, and this was a pretty substantial nerf. You can see the idle sway is much more wobbly. It almost looks like you're drunk when you're aiming down sights. It's going to be much harder to just pre-aim at people with that. And as for recoil, there is much more bullet spread between each shot. That goes for side to side and up to down, and the weapon will climb much higher. This is easy to see with the M4, and you can see the MG34, there's just much more space in between each bullet when it's going up, whereas before they were clustered together more. So you may want to reconsider what weapons you're using the No Stock on now. Lastly, for weapon tuning, the shotgun slug rounds received a buff across the board. They increased the projectile velocity, they increased the damage ranges, they increased the lower torso damage, they reduced the aim down sight spread, and they added dynamic hip fire. Got a couple patch notes that isn't weapon tuning for Warzone and multiplayer to go over before we end this video. There's now a team wipe message, which will now appear in the kill feed for your team to see, so you're not wondering if a team got wiped or not anymore. They now allow up to 3 precision airstrikes to be called in at once within a distance restriction. This will let you use precision airstrikes more freely and is a buff overall. You could attack a much wider zone with precision airstrikes all at once. In the patch notes, it said that gas mask now cracks if you're taking damage near or in the circle, which I'm not sure exactly what this. I don't know if this is talking about if you're near the edge of the circle with the gas, or if it actually crack when you're getting shot in a gunfight. So be on the lookout for that. They also added a play again tab on all the game modes, so you can go straight into another game instead of going into the loading screen and then booting up and waiting there. And the very last patch note I have for you is the Cali sticks has been added to All or Nothing, Gun Game, Infected, and Gunfight. So don't be surprised when those pop up in either of those game modes. So that concludes patch notes for update 1.23. Tons of stuff that will greatly change the game. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the patch notes down below in the comments. Like the video if you guys enjoyed. If you aren't already subscribed, consider doing so and turning on that bell notification, because later on in this week we're going to be going in the gunfight tournament. We're going to be looking at the sniper in depth more, Juggernaut Battle Royale, all that fun stuff. We're always uploading COD stuff, so consider sticking around. Check the links down below in the description if you would like to help support my channel. But as always, guys, thanks for watching. My name is Sinister Skater. I'll catch you all on the next video. Peace out.